Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? If you can, give me a thumbs up. All right. Thanks for joining us. We're just getting started here, so give us just a few minutes while we get some of our panelists up for today's discussion, and we'll be right. We'll get this thing kicked off. How about that?
Hello guys, it looks like Cody's pulling all our speakers on the stage. Meanwhile, I will introduce the spaces, I'll introduce the topic, and let the audience know what we're up to today. Okay, my name is Zena. I worked for Layer 1X for the past couple of years. XTalks is my baby. I'm really, really happy that we have this wonderful initiative, a friendly community of educated, um, insightful people who are stepping up onto this platform and yeah, sharing their insights, sharing their opinions, and basically providing education for free. This is the most valuable, um, you know, piece of information in my opinion. So I'm really happy we've got it up and running. We've got Cody who will be leading these spaces and kicking off the discussion. The discussion today is it means the world to us, to Layer 1X as a Layer 1 chain and as a blockchain protocol that is fully interoperable. So for us, it means the world, and the most important probably motto for Layer 1X is to unite, is, you know, built to unite, and we think we are moving towards this direction pretty well. So, yeah, without actually further ado, I would love to pass the mic on to Cody, let him introduce himself as well. And then we will pass the mic to all the speakers. And I can't wait to hear what you guys got to say tonight, or maybe morning for some. So, okay, Cody, what you got?
Thanks, Anna. I appreciate it. Couldn't do this without you, that's for sure. Welcome, everybody. My name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X. For those that don't know what Layer 1X is, we are a Layer 1 blockchain, as Anna mentioned, that focuses on interoperability. We've actually built our own virtual machine and consensus and Oracle, which allows us to basically do things with interoperability that no other chain has been able to accomplish. We call our proprietary technology XTalk, thus the name of the AMA series. And so we are here to unite all chains projects and users across crypto. So thank you for joining. I believe this is episode number 37. And I think we've got just about everybody up on the stage.
Just one note, Cody, let's bring
Yeah,
up all Disney. If you could, or you just grant me co-host rights, and I will take it from there. In the background, of course.
yeah. So unfortunately, I can't give us co-host opportunities. So
That's fine.
you gotta love Spaces. It's being awesome, but I will definitely let a few people in here.
Yes, please. Yeah,
All
guys.
right.
Yeah,
I think
perfect.
we
Feel free to raise hands, and so Cody can see it, and then he'll pull you up on the stage. Also, just a gentle note to the listeners, to our dear community, to everyone who stepped in into the spaces to tune in, listen, and yeah, please feel free to leave your comments, leave your questions in the comment section, or if you are feeling, brave. You don't need to be brave for that, but if you're feeling like so, please raise your hand and yeah, get up on the stage. We welcome everyone. We're happy to have you. Thank you.
yeah, definitely. We are excited. So let's get started today. We'll get jumped right in. So no formal process here. To be honest, I probably can't even see you guys raising your hands. So just feel free to jump in. And yeah, why don't we start off things by having each of you guys give us your 30-second elevator pitch, and we'll take it from there. Who wants to go first?
I can go first. Can you guys hear me well?
Yep,
Yeah.
go for it.
Perfect.
Awesome. Hey guys, thanks for having me. My name is Dub Digital. I've been in the blockchain space since 2013, and I'm the head of public relations at PlayerChain. So just a little bit about PlayerChain really quick. PlayerChain is an Avalanche subnet that's going to be arriving next month, and we're focusing on providing high throughput and multi-chain experiences for blockchain gaming. We're focusing on like low efficiency and low latency, and we're huge fans of interoperability. We think that's the missing link basically to usher in like true adoption for blockchain gaming. So that's what we're really focusing on. And we're really focusing on providing liquidity and playable experiences between EVM and non-EVM chains. So true interoperability. We are aiming to be a premier gaming hub that focuses on being the blue chip gaming hub for blockchain games moving into the future. And we look forward to deploying on Avalanche. We'll be launching next month. So be on the lookout. Follow us for more details. And I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. Right, up this road. This is amazing. Thank you so much for stepping up. And yeah, spicy. Long time no see.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Thanks for having us in the space. This is Spicy Capital. We are a VC fund in the crypto space, and we're very focused at the moment on different projects from GameFi to DeFi. We're looking into layer one, layer twos, infra on Bitcoin as well. And I like to start off with just saying, if you're fading Bitcoin, don't make that mistake, man. Interoperability is definitely going to be a dope conversation today, especially with what's cooking up on Bitcoin after the halving. But super excited for this. And again, thank you for having us again as a guest. Always love the layer one X spaces, man. It's always a vibe here. And it's dope to see some familiar some familiar faces as well. And good to be up here with Mindless as well, man. He's got some dope takes. So looking forward to hearing from him.
Mindless might as well just pick up the pace. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? You guys are too kind. I'm a bit of a bozo, but you guys always give me credit. I really appreciate that. My name is Mindless. It's pretty straightforward. I manage the BD side of things here at Style Protocol. We're aiming to be an interoperability protocol or layer for gaming and NFTs. So interoperability as a problem is pretty close to our heart. And the easiest vector of attack that we've understood to be is how you can move NFTs between games and ecosystems seamlessly. We plan to provide that solution to users as well as games in the ecosystem.
All right, who's going to go next? Don't be shy.
I can go. Everybody calls me Walt Diz. Um, I'm helping out with the Samurai Saga team. We're creating pretty much the first samurai style game for the blockchain. All the all the NFTs are going to be completely fully 3D built out and rendered for some of the best IP we've seen in the business. They did create a layer one, and they're heavily focused on expanding the brand to really push for the strongest IP in the industry. That is one of the largest industries is the gaming industry, and they also want to make sure that there's a lot of musicians under a music label attached with it. So, music and video games go hand in hand. So, but interoperability is one of the most essential parts of making that a smooth experience for the user.
Oh my God, Jean Marie's probably bummed out that she's not here because she would definitely collide with you on that topic. You probably know her. She's well across our spaces usually. But yeah, we've got Michael, we've got Color Void here. Correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, please. So, guys, go ahead.
Yeah, happy to start. Sorry, Michael, just jumping in from the Call of the Void account. I'm Matt. I'm the CEO and founder of Call of Void. We are a multi-game studio building in mobile and then building cross-platform. And I'm here to learn all about chains. You can take my sort of layman opinion from a 19 years game dev background. And we're currently on Immutable and Polygon and all sorts of other stuff brewing, and I'm really excited to be here on the space and learn more about what's going on.
GM. Sorry, I'm moving slow this morning, trying to get this coffee in me. It's pretty early. But yeah, I'm Michael. I'm one of the co-founders at Curvance. We're building a multi-chain agnostic reward and utility layer for yield-bearing assets. We'll be focusing on EVM chains to start, and in the future, we'll be looking at non-EVM things such as Solana and even the Move ecosystem.
Lovely. I think we've got all of our speakers intros in, and yeah, thank you so much, guys, for being here. This is amazing. We are super gaming, super NFT friendly, also super obviously interoperability friendly, and yeah. Cody has some tricky questions lined up. I see them. So I'm going to pass the mic to Cody and just let him take you down his favorite rabbit holes.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Definitely got some good personalities, experience, and knowledge on this panel. So if you do have any questions for our panelists, please be sure to leave those in the threads below, and we will try to get those up to our panelists towards the end of the AMA. For those that are just joining, my name is Cody. I'm joined by my co-host, Inna, on the XTalks handle. I would encourage you, if you haven't already, please go and share this Spaces link. It's going to be a good one, I believe. And so we want to get this out to as many people as possible. Likewise, if you haven't heard all of the intros, I definitely recommend that you go through and look at all the different profiles and definitely give them a follow because they are experts in what they do. So without further ado, let's just jump right into today's topic, which is on the uniting chains. As Anna mentioned previously, this is our whole ethos of what L1X is all about, and how we are on a voyage or a journey to make this a positive user experience across crypto for every user and project and chain, so that we kind of work towards that utopia vision of a united Web3 experience. So thanks for joining us today, our panelists. I appreciate it. Without further ado, let's ask the first question. So let's see here. Developers and projects often have massive egos attached to their own chains. Could the push for interoperability be hampered by refusal to admit that sometimes another chain does it better? Will we overcome this need and to always be the best?
Oh my God, Cody. The first question straight and like a slap. Let's go. Mindless. You have something to say straight away.
Yeah, Jesus, man, you're going to get somebody fired here, so we'll have to be very, very careful with that one. I think the nature of this space can be very tribal, just because success often relies on like heavy, interest and loyalty to a very specific ecosystem, and that's very, very difficult to shed. But it's also a weapon that works quite well, and I think to kind of be very blunt, it does exist in the space, and I've seen it amongst developer communities. I've seen it amongst layer ones versus layer twos. There's all sorts of terms like vampire attacks being banded around the space. You see it between NFT communities. I really don't know if there's even a solution for it yet. Perhaps it is the just amalgamation of users and liquidity flowing freely throughout the space. So when that friction barrier is lifted, I hope some of these tribal elements disappear along with it. I suppose it's more of a human nature problem solution, right? And that's something that's way out of my league, so I'll stop there.
Guys, go ahead, just step in. Don't raising hands is yesterday.
Sure. Well, if you don't mind, I'll go. Yeah, I think tribalism is something that doesn't just span blockchain, but just humans in general, right? The earliest civilizations were tribes. And I like to say we can thrive alone, but we can survive alone, but we thrive together. And I think it's the one thing that's going to really lift that tendency of humans is going to be economic prosperity across chains. That prosperity isn't limited, it's abundant. And once we reduce that friction across blockchains, everyone's going to see that's apparent. And working together is going to be more prosperous. But until that happens and interoperability becomes, the barrier of entry lowers, it's still going to be a struggle. But I think we're getting closer every cycle.
One thing I've noticed with a lot of projects is it doesn't matter how wonderful the founder is. If there's a crappy community attached to it, it can make or break a project that's really well built from a strong foundation standpoint. So it's essential for the community to be educated, for one, and be prepared for what that project is building. If it is a short-term, flip, that they need to be aware of that. If it's a long-term hold, they need to be aware of that. And a lot of that goes back to education. And a good founder understands that humility is a strong point, and so is being transparent with transactions, being vocal about what they're doing with funds, that kind of thing. That goes a long way for a community.
Yeah, I like all those points, and I agree about the tribalism. We've always taken the approach on our side as being agnostic, open-handed builders. And really what that looks like is obviously we built the code base in Solidity, so we're focusing on EVM to begin with. But there's a ton of L2s, right? And there's new ones coming out every day. So how do you prioritize who you integrate with limited dev resources? The way we've taken that approach is really, we start at ETH mainnet, and then we just prioritize the groups who prioritized us. So we approach every group the same way, have a conversation, figure out what their goals are, right? What they want to promote, what they want to champion. And then we try to build products around that. And if we can make something work out, we make something work out. But I do think that having attachment to any one ecosystem in this space can be a bit dangerous. Like your goal, if you're a dApp anyways, should probably be to be everywhere, right? You should probably want to be on every chain that you can be on within reason, except for maybe Cardano. I'm just kidding.
I knew someone would dunk on Cardano. I thought it was going to be my job to do that. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with this. And I think the key point there is limited dev resources. So we're a small team. who do we pick? We have to have a functional business. A lot of people say, yeah, be chain agnostic, lots of things are coming. But at the end of the day, if you want to release a product, not just a video and chill a token, you need to pick someone to start with. So I think that's the hard part, and often is the case with these things. You go with the money is, or you go with whoever offers you something. I mean, if someone says we have the best chain in the world, I'm not going to pick that until I actually have the best game in the world running on it. I'm going to pick the person who gives me the most money up front because it's just a business decision. I mean, tribalism is kind of okay when you're established and you can see people fighting each other over it. But there aren't really enough games in the space that are doing well independently to justify it, I think. So I'm always chain agnostic. If someone comes to me and says, here's a better chain, happily look for it. But at the same time, limited dev is my priority at the moment.
Could I get a quick refresher on the question? Because I'm very in between my answers at the moment. I want to land on one.
Yeah, no problem. The question was, developers and projects often have massive egos attached to their own chains. Could the push for interoperability be hampered by the refusal to admit sometimes another chain does it better? Will we overcome the need to always be the best?
We will never overcome that. That's like saying what game is better, Halo or Call of Duty. It's just Halo players are going to like Halo, Call of Duty players are going to like Call of Duty. It is what it is, right? We have egotistical developers, and that's, it is what it is. But if you really think about it in layers, I would rather an egotistical developer work on my team than someone who's like a fairy bouncing between chains. Because someone that really understands their chain and really understands their network down to the grains, I would rather them on my team, because it's a thing where they are going to do the best that they can to prove that they're right. And I was on a space yesterday with a guy called Chris on Solana. I think his name is ISMO or Ismo, however you pronounce it. This guy, to some people, would be an egotistical maniac, right? Just the way he comes across. If you hear him speak for the first time, but he came on the space. He's a Solana, I would say he's a Solana maxi, but he understands his stuff about Bitcoin to like a whole nother level. Completely fudded the whole idea of runes and runestones and all this stuff. But in the same paragraph, in the same sentence, gave us the solution on how to take the airdrops. Because he basically said, look, when we get the airdrop, it's going to be about $500,000 to $1 million. It's going to be spent just on the fees that no one's considered because no one knows. But he's made a way and building a way where we won't get hit with that. And he went on to explain further and further. I'm telling you, everyone in this space was like, this guy just came on the space and is wrecking Bitcoin. But then we all were like, oh, snap. Okay, Chris, yeah, we're on your side. Sorry, my alarm just went off. Yeah, we're on your side. It makes sense, blah, 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 blah. So I would definitely rather someone that is like that, in terms of they are egotistical, if that's what it is. They say that their chain is the best. Okay, cool. They're gonna say their chain is the best. Of course they're gonna say that. Look, I'm with a VC. I'm gonna say we're the best. I don't care if there's other VCs in this space. We're gonna have that, and I actually think we need that. We need people in this space that believe what they're doing is the best, because then they're going to be forced to produce the best content, the best developers, the best teams, the best of everything that makes a project work, and the best that makes a project stay in the space. Obviously, there are some people in the space that are just going to be, annoying and idiots about it, but we're going to get that. But I think it comes down to us accepting the fact that that won't change. Just ask yourself this question. Do you want someone that's kind of in between and is okay on multiple different networks? Or would you rather know someone that's a general, a legend on the network that they're on? Cardano, obviously, people are iffy about Cardano, but I would rather someone that's dope on that space, on that network, or dope on Bitcoin or amazing on Solana or legendary on EVMs or whatever it is, I'd rather that than someone that's pretty good on multiple different networks. That's just my take.
Spicy. I'm so with you. I really, really think that ego actually drives innovation, right? However, it is just crucial, important to have a decent team, a well educated, appreciated community behind that massive ego. So the whole idea doesn't go to shit, you know? So I'm so with you guys. We've got such a great panel. I'm so delighted. And I have a follow-up question for that, actually. So, we obviously have massive players on the market, and kudos to them. This is great, well established. But do you think if, if we do a kind of like achieve some sort of a, I apologize for my dog barking. This wasn't planned, but anyways, so um, could potential union of different all the chains cause big players loss of power? Did you guys
I'm
hear
sorry,
me?
could you please repeat that question?
Yeah, sorry. Do you reckon if we all unite, one day this miracle happens, we all unite, and then could this potentially cause a massive loss of power to those who are at the moment like pretty much own the market, the big players, the well-established chains?
I
I mean,
personally don't think so. I feel like that's like the difference between somebody who uses like a MacBook versus like a Windows computer versus a Linux computer. Right? Like even at like the later stages of things, people kind of have their tribes that they stick to. Same thing with like programming languages. You can have a good career in a ton of different languages that you specialize in, and I think that crypto will probably be the same way.
yeah, I agree on that. I think it's definitely there is more than enough pie to go round if we do make it. I think the main thing we need to look on is how we actually make it mainstream, how we make this safe for everyone, how we get rid of some of the like major like failures to educate. I mean, even the concept of a wallet is poorly explained to people. They think it's actually a place where all their coins are. And we teach all the wallets to recognize scam coins just as easily. And that's kind of centralized, like teaching all the wallets to recognize the shitty scam coins. There needs to be, I think, a degree of maybe decentralized centralization. There needs to be some sort of guiding force organized through the industry to make things a little bit better. But I still think there's plenty of pie for everyone. And I think we can all work together and have different flavors.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. I think it's kind of like entropy, right? Areas of concentration that are not as concentrated, like particles or liquidity flows into it. I think in some situations where the money maybe, first mover advantage or something, but didn't continue to innovate, maybe that would lessen in liquidity. But I think it could also have an exponential effect in other places, right? Everyone assumes that if that happens, they're going to lose TVL, but they don't assume that it could magnify their TVL. I think you just need to concentrate on building good products, and money flows into where the best products are.
Great point. Spicy, just go for it.
Yeah, I would say that it doesn't matter how far we get in this space. I don't think that would ever actually be a thing, because if we take where we are currently right now, present day, we have Ethereum and all these other big boys that are the leaders in our space that take up a bunch of liquidity and all this other stuff. However, to the outside world, we as a whole are one unit. When they see Ethereum, they don't see Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all these other people taking up liquidity. They see anyone that mentions crypto as one unit. So to them, we're coming to take over them. So if we have people that, if we, let's say, for example, we will all to come together right now and build something, there will just be someone else or other groups that will want to do what we did, but we'll see them as one unit. They'll see us as the people that have taken liquidity or whatever it is. And there will just be that ever ending cycle. The same way we have taken, I don't know, decades, centuries to build something that will overthrow, in a way, the government structure of how our world is. We have this decentralized world. In a few years, in decades or centuries to come, there will probably be someone or something that will create another mechanism or another piece of technology that will make crypto look like dog shit. It is what it is. It's going to happen because, like, to the first question, there will be egos that will do that. There's going to be someone that's going to want to build something better, faster, whether it is another form of crypto, whether it isn't crypto, we don't know. We might not even be here to see it. But I do believe that it will just be a cycle. And it's a funny thing because, again, we see big players in the space, whether they're VCs, whether they're market makers, whether they're exchanges, decentralized exchanges, projects, it doesn't matter what they are, it doesn't matter what sector they're in. To the outside world, we are all one unit coming to take over the current structure. So I guess it's just, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one actually, because to us we see big liquidity people taking up everything, and to them they see us as one group. So yeah, I think it's just going to be an ever-ending cycle. It just depends on what side of the coin you're on.
100%.
Would
I agree. Thanks for adding that. Go ahead, Walt. This.
I was gonna say I'm at the airport right now, and probably just 10 years ago, you see some of the people on their phones. A lot of people didn't want to use phones and stuff, but they all learned how to do it. A lot of people gravitated to a specific phone type. I think that was brought up previously, but you're gonna look for the easiest route, the path of least resistance. What's the most simplistic? And I think if you can find an easy way of onboarding people, and it's something that makes them say, "Wow, that's convenient. Wow, that was easy to do." You're going to see more people gravitate to that. Um, you know, you see all these different ways to try and acquire cryptocurrency, and it's very confusing to learn this stuff. I cannot imagine my grandma trying to figure out how to convert, Bitcoin to Solana back to Ethereum. That's not going to happen. So, I think simplicity goes a long way, and it needs to be an enjoyable experience. And I've seen some pretty awesome technology just in the last 2 or 3 months really come out.
100%. I agree with you guys on that one. It is an interesting thing that we're faced with right now. Oftentimes, at least here in the U.S., crypto is often referred to the wild, wild west. And I mean, if you look at how that transpired over through the development and innovation of that time period, things started settling out, things started getting more established and things like that. And so, yes, I agree. During these times, egos fly high. We definitely need that because it does drive innovation. It does drive change. And I think it was Mike that said earlier that, it is dangerous to go agnostic to one chain type of thing. You got to be able to be ready and pivot. There are some there are some advantages, there are some disadvantages, but on the flip side, it's far too often, being in the role that I'm in, I've seen a lot of great projects follow the money, and in essence, and follow the audience, and then build their project there, and due to limited resources, they get stuck there, right? And so for them, they have to look outside and to build on other chains, and so which makes interoperability so important, especially these days. And I like what you said, Walt. Is basically in the near future, it'll definitely be something where a lot of people won't even be concerned what chain they're on, just because of the whole interoperability play. And that's definitely something that we are working towards here at Layer 1X. So that kind of leads me to my next question. But before I ask that, I just want to make sure that for those that are just tuning in, my name is Cody. I'm the co-host here. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X. We are definitely joined by some great panelists today. If you have any questions, feel free to pop those in the threads, and we'll get those up as quickly as we can. Likewise, please give these great panelists a follow. They have definitely earned it. Great insight and thoughts on today's topic, which is uniting chains. So my next question, kind of bringing both of these questions kind of full circle. With interoperability, we know that we've established that there's definitely some unique characteristics and cult-like cultures, I guess you could say, on individual chains and things like that. But when it comes to interoperability, will chains begin to lose their unique characteristics in those cultures, or will this also innovate some sort of healthy competition for innovation?
Yeah, I'd like to jump in as an ill-informed bystander to the chain wars. I kind of would like to see that the culture revolves more around the products than the infrastructure, because I mean currently infrastructure is getting all of the plays, all of the money, all of the VCs are looking into all of these things, and then we've ended up with a very target-rich environment. If you're a business trying to make a product, the amount of SaaS calls I have from just literally tons of people making DeFi projects, chains, all of these kind of different things. It's really difficult to navigate. And I think the communities really tend to revolve around product on a project. I mean, not necessarily the chain itself. Like people on Polygon, they're there for the Polygon stuff, the pushing P, the influencers that are there, maybe some of the games. The same with IMX, a lot of them came over from Illuvium. The same with ETH is a lot of the NFT collections and people who are maxis on that. And Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's fully decentralized. It runs itself, kind of. It's. I think that's what makes it truly special. And I think because we have Bitcoin that kind of runs itself and is decentralized, we've got the example, but none of us kind of live up to that kind of dream of Satoshi. So I guess there are always going to be cultures, there are always going to be niches, but I just don't see a sort of a niche where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go with AVAX because of the subnets, or I'm going to go with Polygon because it's EVM compatible, but then actually I want to be on ZK EVM rollups. I mean, no one really wants to know about all of that. They want to know, can I play an awesome game? Can I change my money? Can I buy a product? Can I tokenize all of the storage assets I have and then sell them seamlessly without actually having to go to the storage unit? People want solutions. They don't want a bunch of problem solving. They want the actual solution, and the solution is always in the product, not in the method of conveyance, I would say.
Well said.
One thing I've experienced with a lot of different blockchains is arrogance and complacency is one of the most dangerous things in Web3 because it is such an evolving and ever-changing daily process. You have to be open-minded to a lot of newer people that are entering the space, bright minds and a lot of innovation, and being willing to collaborate with those newer people, because if you're stuck in your old world Web2 mindset, you are not going to make it in Web3. That's just a fact.
Yeah, I agree on that. I see interoperability like just opening up choice and giving everyone choice and allowing to do with it what they will, right? And I like to put myself in the shoes of someone new coming into crypto. And the way I think of it, if I went to a mall, I go to a record store to buy, to buy music. I go to a clothing store to buy clothing. That's how someone from Web 2 is coming in here and never dealt with Web 3 for the first time. So in all, when I say interoperability and opening up and lowering the barrier of entry to get into different chains, I think it's going to cause chains to niche down, right? Niche down hard and get products, similar products on each chain, because people know I go to this chain to participate in this. I go to this chain to participate in that. Right now, it's kind of like you go to an ecosystem and there's a million things you could do, but it kind of you're not really sure what this chain's known for. So with the ability for people to go wherever they want, I think it's going to cause likewise products to really niche down onto certain chains. And I think that's going to happen organically.
And that's a really good point. And I think it's difficult to know at the moment. It's really, really hard to predict, as you were saying. And one good thing is there's been a hell of a lot of innovation in the bear market. Like, a lot of people don't realize how much stuff was getting built silently behind the scenes to make everything easier. Like you guys building something where we can move assets seamlessly across chains. I mean, that's fantastic. If we can get a way that the digital economy that so far has been locked behind emails, selling your data, KYCing everything, to just be something that you can engage with without having to give up like your Instagram preferences and all the rest of it. If there's some way that we can just do that so that we can be online, we can do all of the stuff that we normally do and make it easier and own more of it. And yeah, just own the journey. Like, maybe I don't want that Starbucks card. Maybe I want to swap it for something. Maybe I want to have something in my game and then trade it for, I don't know, maybe a flight or a plane ticket or an Etihad like bonus system or something. I think all of these things that are related to people and related to gamer reputation and all of this kind of crazy stuff, there's got to be a market for this. There's got to be a central liquidity for this, because we do everything online now. I mean, fuck, I hate going out. It's Sweden. It's meant to be spring. It's a blizzard out there. I mean, anything I can do online, I will do online. So I think there is definitely niches, there's definitely things, but we have to find a way of making this seamless between all of these things.
I'm going to push back and try and be a little contrarian. Sometimes I don't think seamlessness has a place. So I draw parallels with the gaming console space. So if you're in the Nintendo ecosystem, or you're an avid Nintendo player, a Nintendo fan, pretty much every game and community on there isn't compatible with PlayStation per se. Like, these two can exist on polar opposites and carve out incredible niches and empires for themselves respectively and do really well within that. And I look at a lot of the blockchain space similarly. I think interoperability would be great, but a part of me just says that it might not be needed in the way we think it is. Maybe the way to look at it is more of an internet layer or some sort of online protocol where these two ecosystems can still have some touch points. I think for me, it's more interesting to see ecosystems that are similar somewhat and competing, with cultures that are competing and communities that are competing and a product market fit that's in competition with one another. That's a straight square fight where, like, it's a pretty easy matchup and somebody has to win and claim something entirely. So that's like a Bitcoin versus a Bitcoin Cash, or a proof of work mining mechanism versus Bitcoin. It's a much easier fight. And when that victor wins, he tends to claim everything. And it's similar to like Ethereum versus all of the smart contract platforms in 2016, 17, 18, 19 that all fell to the wayside when Ethereum effectively beat them. It claimed everything within that space. Yeah, it doesn't answer the question, but I think part of this, there is a space here for very, very specific siloed ecosystems to exist within their own right and do very, very well, just the same as a PlayStation and a Nintendo have done in the gaming world.
But then again, if you look, you can now play as Sonic in Smash Brothers. You like, a lot of these things do merge. Just look at Fortnite. Millions of different IPs all across, everyone's happy with them. And it depends on the niche you're talking about. Like, I personally think that, yeah, you could definitely have a blockchain built in Norway for moving oil and fish. I've actually talked to a guy doing this. If you ever talk to a Norwegian, they're going to be doing some real life business. Even if it's on the blockchain, it'll be like, yes, we are going to freeze 1 million tons of fish and we're going to send it there and we're going to blockchain it. And yes, of course, these ecosystems can exist with games and all the rest in a separate world, but we just currently lack the ability that Web 2 seems to seamlessly have, which is I can just buy anything on a store with money that I have in my bank. And as soon as we can do that, even that level of interoperability would be lovely.
Yeah, and just talking on games real quick, I mean, the vision we had, Player Chain, is to provide the devs a tool, like a tool that could span many programming languages, so that, you know, that's not a barrier. I think in previous times where hardware was like dominant, you had that problem, but now it's shifted to software, right? So I think you have to start with the end in mind, establish an environment where devs are able to really be creative. You know, that's what we've been trying to focus on We want to be a chain for games. And we recognize that there are barriers to that. So we're trying to assist upfront. But yeah, I think moving forward, I mean, look at the rise of Steam, right? When I started playing Super Mario Bros., I needed a Nintendo, but that's no longer the case now.
Yeah, I mean, needing a Nintendo is one thing, but having to play all of the... imagine if you had to convert your currency to yen to actually buy stuff, to actually buy a Nintendo game. That's currently the world we're living in. We're not living in the world where you need to buy something from the same shop. We're living in a world where you have to convert your currency into a foreign currency to just buy the in-apps in Mario or something like that. Like, this is the weirdness. Like, we're one layer back from just buying a console and then using the same money on all of it. Like, imagine if you just literally had to learn Japanese to play Sony games. It just wouldn't work, and that's kind of the situation we're currently in. So we need to get out of that, because yeah, there can be niches, yeah, there can be all of these things, but currently we're still one layer back, I think, from being where we are at Web2. And I can see Taris is like giving me a lot of thumbs down on this. I'd love to hear his opinion. Thumbs downing all the way. What you got to say, man?
Unfortunately, he's not a speaker, but I'm like, man, you got a lot of English sense of humor, eh? Fish on chain, and also learning Japanese out of nowhere just so you convert the money. I love it, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting. We've got people across the board on this panel on their different innovations and things like that. One thing that we are looking at Layer One, with our interoperability is that we're trying to focus on, again, that united front of being able to not only unite the chains, unite projects, and unite users, but also to bring everything to the user in a way that they can fully optimize their experience of how they want to interact with Web3, right? And so I loved what Dub Digital was using, the mall reference. That's actually that's how I explain crypto to a lot of non-crypto people. So yes, you're absolutely right. And I think it was Call of the Void that basically mentioned they want the Internet of Things, and you kind of look at the progression of how that is, and you look at malls today, and they're not as thriving as they once were because of the innovation. But I look at it the same way, is that in the future it won't even matter what chain they're on, what coin they're basically trying to use, because it'll all be able to be switched, be able to be played, and everything complex and technical that we're currently experiencing will all be under the hood due to great UI UX experiences as we start to focus on that kind of stuff. So yeah, great points. So the next question I kind of want to lead into, which is kind of right up this alley, is this. One of the things that makes us unique with our interoperability is because we have our own VM, which allows us to not only integrate with EVM, but non-EVM. Likewise, we're also able to tap into a couple of different resources that a lot of bridges can't even do. So we are bridgeless. And the reason why I'm saying that we're bridgeless is because of how we connect with these chains. And because of that, it allows us to not only move assets, but it allows us to move data and logic. And so that's kind of my next question, is if interoperability changes how assets flow, what do you guys envision about data? Could we see new applications? Could we see new growth and scale within blockchains by sharing data between projects and chains? And will this break down the current silos that we're currently experiencing and talking about today?
I can jump on that a little bit there. So that is interesting. You can do some data transfer using existing bridge solutions through message signing. But there is like a combination of off-chain operations that you need to build in order to make that work seamlessly with like your smart contracts. So like we did that with like this vote escrow system. We basically took like what Curve did and made it fully multi-chain with the ability for like the different, we use like a hub and spoke model. So like the different hubs that we integrate on, which is different chains, can send both assets plus the data of the users who are locked there back to the canonical chain, which in our case is Ethereum. And then the system can do some accounting and calculate protocol fee distribution in that kind of fashion, because it has both the assets from the hub's rewards generated, plus it has the individual lockers like data. And that happens through both on-chain and off-chain operations. So I think we're slowly getting there. Just like with everything else in the space, like as more and more of these solutions come up, whether that be a layer one like yourselves, or just bridging solutions moving forward, it's going to unlock a lot of really cool use cases for new dApps.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the first real use cases for data cross chain was oracles, right? And look what it did to DeFi summer and DeFi just exploding. I think there are some use cases for data, cross chain data, that obviously aren't that, you don't know until you see it. But I think those uses will be profound. The one we've seen so far has just changed the space in a major way. Not only being able to use your digital assets and hold it, and that's what it used to be in 2013, just hold it, but now you can actually get yield from it. So I think data is the missing link, definitely. And the integration between chains and how they're going to be able to cooperate is just going to get more sophisticated as we break down that barrier.
Cool. Yeah, great feedback. Definitely on that.
Awkward silence. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, did we get it right?
Did we stump them or did we bore them to death? Yeah.
I know.
It's always the ever-present fear of being suddenly rugged out of a space just because you're like posting something or replying to someone. But yeah, I think it's really interesting, the conversation we're having, and I'm just getting what Taris was actually saying, that yes, we need infrastructure for that, and he's right. And I'm hoping that layer one and some of the other people in the space are working on this. There are people who are working to solve these problems of cross-chain interoperability, which we currently don't have. And I do think that, we have space for both individual cultures on chains. We have all of this kind of stuff. But until we can move assets seamlessly chain to chain without even thinking about it, we sort of don't have that rosy future right yet.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically what layer one is doing. Our goal is this, for what Bitcoin did for payments, we're doing for data with our interoperability. And we've already started showcasing that. We have a partner that's launching on us soon called Elderune. It's a game from Diga Labs. We're basically made an infrastructure where we can pull in one game from one chain, NFTs from 4 other chains, and play it all seamless right into the same gaming experience without sacrificing speed, graphics, things like that. And so, we are excited to start getting our innovation and tech out to the masses on that one. And to Terrace's point, we definitely need the infrastructure, and that's what we're basically trying to build for not only games but projects and everything, so that we can start creating that very seamless experience, no matter what chain, no matter what smart contract you're trying to engage with. You can basically make it happen. So, you raising your hand?
Yeah, I am. I'm not making a mistake. I'm like, you know me by now. You know that I can, just sit on my keyboard by accident, whatever. But no, I was just actually to say that I'm quite conscious of everyone's time, right? And giving the Twitter lags and how much grief it has given me in the past 2 weeks. I can't see comment section. I just don't have access to comment section, period. So I wanted to spice it up a little bit, this one in particular, and I wanted to see if our like speakers got some questions to ask each other, or just a general question they want to throw in, because um, questioning is good. This is a very natural process. This is how we learn. So if anyone here has anything to ask, or just throw out there as a our final kind of like bit of discussion, go for it. Don't be shy.
I did have a question for Layer 1X. Are you guys gonna possibly have the availability to transfer multiple NFT assets at once?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good question. The question is yes. Likewise, we did this about a year ago when we did our hackathon. Our main founder showed all of the 200 developers that we had at our hackathon the ability to basically mint an NFT as well as list it up to 5 different NFT marketplaces all at once, and be able to manage it just from the Layer 1X testnet. So just another layer on top of your question there, but yes.
That's the best news I've heard all week.
Love it. Love it. Well, your name's making me want to go back to Disneyland, so we'll call it even. How about that?
Cody, you were just there like a week ago.
I know.
Jesus.
I need more churros
Calm down.
and hot dogs, corn dogs. I mean.
Oh.
Anybody
Yeah.
else have any questions for each other, or because I've got one last good one, I think, to kind of round it out if nobody else has questions for anybody else.
Let's go.
All right. I asked. Okay. If you guys have any questions for each other, you guys know that you can always DM each other as well as us. So let's go on to this next question. If any asset can now live on any chain, does the very concept of a quote unquote native blockchain start to lose its meaning? In other words, can we reach a point where chains become mere infrastructures and the asset themselves are the true rock stars?
Hopefully,
I think so.
but not now.
I think we're seeing this with projects that are coming out as natively multi-chain or omni-chain or whatever. Like I would say for us, we don't really have like a home base. We use Ethereum as the canonical chain when it comes to data, but we're pretty agnostic in that sense, like from day one. So I think more and more teams are starting to approach it from that direction, which a couple years ago really wasn't possible. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I believe so. As time goes on, it becomes assets minted on a native chain, but as more and more people come in the space and they get okay with holding wrapped versions or bridge versions, it really becomes you have to ask the question, what is that real asset? The one that's initially made or the one people use more? And I think as interoperability is more embraced, that definition is going to start to change a little bit. Right now, I think we're still, wherever the asset's natively minted, that's the real deal chain or the real deal asset. But moving on, I could see a world where, it gets kind of blurred, but it's going to be interesting to see.
Spicy's so quiet tonight. This morning. Sorry. This is very not very out of your character.
No, I've just been listening to the conversation a lot. I've liked a lot of the takes, and a lot of the takes I've agreed with. So I didn't want to repeat what other people have said. However, on this occasion, I believe I'm completely against it. I don't really think it's going to change much. I think native things will still be a thing. If we look at countries, the dollar is accepted in the Caribbean, but people already know the native country is the US, and that's still pretty strong. The pound is acceptable in multiple different countries, but people know that the pound is native is over in the UK. So I believe that native chains will still be king. I think it needs to be that way. There needs to be a hierarchy in every system for systems to thrive. If there's no hierarchy, everything crumbles. However, wherever that native token is or wherever that hierarchy is, it just needs to be held with integrity and whatnot. Obviously, yeah, we're in crypto and everything's based off of code, but even if something is multi-chain, even if something is omni-chain, at the end of the day, this goes back to what I said about developers. If something is too, and this could be something or someone, if something or someone is spread too wide over too many things, cracks start to appear. And I believe we're going to get to an age in crypto where if you are starting to become spread too thin across too many platforms, we'll start to see those cracks. If we look at gaming, for example, something as simple as building a game on Xbox and having it built on PlayStation as well, those are two complete different infrastructures, even though to us it just looks like a console. But to someone that really understands the technicalities that go behind building something on PlayStation compared to building something on Xbox. We never really started to understand it as gamers until Xbox One and PlayStation, whatever, came out, where we started to see the difference with graphics, real high end stuff. And then PC stormed in and said, look, you can build on us as well, we're fine, but our graphics are going to be better. And then we started to see a lot more games come out where they started to just say, okay, cool, we're just going to keep this game on this platform. We're just going to keep this game over here and all this other stuff. So I think what we'll probably see more of is infrastructure or tokens or whatever that comes out that makes it easily accessible to the public. I don't think we should really be going down the road of trying to make things companies be the rock star. I think when a company becomes a rock star, they'll crumble within a few years. We've seen it time and time again. Anyone that thinks they're a rock star in the space, their ego gets to a point where it's not even an ego thing to help the space. It's an ego thing of they're cocky, and there's a thin line between confidence and cockiness. And anyone that becomes that cocky kind of player, they crumble. We've seen it time and time and time and time again, because again, that person or that company spread themselves too thin where they didn't see the cracks and they're no longer here anymore. So, and I don't even need to name names or companies. Like we can all think of at least 5 to 10 different ones. Um, so I think what we'll probably see is we'll probably take a note out of the gaming industry, where if we look at Xbox and PlayStation, obviously the leaders at the moment, look at what Backbone did. Backbone is a controller that allows you to play video games on your mobile phone. So last night I was literally playing Ghost Recon Wildlands, a game that came on Xbox a while ago and PlayStation. I was playing that game on my mobile phone. All I had to do was spend £100 to buy a Backbone controller, hook my iPhone in, and I can play. There's a PlayStation version that allows you to play with PlayStation buttons, but there's also a standard version that just looks like an Xbox controller. And the only downside to it is your phone may overheat a little bit or it will drain battery. But come on, man. We're degens. We don't really care about that. We'll just play anyway. So I could play Ghost Recon. I could play Call of Duty. I could play Warzone with someone on an Xbox whilst being on my phone. I can play FIFA. I can play multiple different games. Forza Horizon, loads of different things. And that has been made accessible because Backbone said, hey, look, instead of trying to be on multiple different platforms, here's what we'll do. We won't include every game. We'll strike a deal with Xbox and we'll strike a deal with PlayStation and say, hey, look, if you can give us access to your PlayStation Pass and your Xbox Pass, we'll make a system where people can play this game just from their phone, but they still have to subscribe to you. Now it makes it accessible to every single person that has an iPhone and a high-end Android, which is almost everyone on planet Earth. It hasn't been marketed well to the point of everyone's got one, but I would guarantee that almost everyone in this space would pay £100 to play a video game from their childhood on Xbox Pass. I guarantee people would do that. Why? Because it's easy. You slip your phone in and you're in. There's no plug and play. There's no download that needs to happen. You can just play because it plays off of the cloud. So, in that sense, to wrap up my point, I think that's something that we should see more of instead of companies becoming rock stars. I think we should see more of forget wanting to be a native company. How are you going to benefit your native chain or other native chains that you might be on, but in a way where we can build adoption? I think that's what our focus should be.
I want to jump in on that because those are a lot of good points there. And I think what you're referencing to really is what this omni-chain future we're talking about. And in gaming, to keep it in that same light, the issue, right? The end user has a specific goal, right? They want to play a game, right? They can go with Xbox, they can go with PlayStation. In most cases, it's whatever your parents got you for Christmas that year is the option that you have. When PC gaming came out, right, it was the PC master race, right? Because you could get the highest tier of graphic quality out of the game. But the issue was cost, right? And that was a barrier to entry for many people. And what you're talking about with this mobile device and this 100-pound controller really is just accessibility, right? It's the same end goal. The user still gets to play their game. They still get that same thing that they want to get, but now it's a lower barrier to entry, right? And it's more accessible. And it's the same way in blockchains and crypto, where, you know, if you're going for security, obviously Ethereum, Bitcoin are the two best, like undoubtedly. But the problem is cost, right? And it creates barrier to entry for the vast majority of the world because transaction fees are extremely high and scalability is low. So you have to go to layer twos and create scaling solutions to onboard more people, right, in a cost-effective manner. The way that I see a multi-chain future really is with dApps building natively multi-chain. And what that means is you don't have, like for your token, for example, a home-based chain, right? There's a mint and burn contract where any chain that you integrate, if a user transfers, they're not even really bridging. They're just minting and burning. They're burning their position on one chain and minting it on the new chain to facilitate that. And so what happens is you don't have wrapped versions. You just have this native token wherever you are. And the way I see it, like years from now, is when we're building these user experiences and user interfaces, is you'll have the user who wants to have some sort of, you know, consensus activity, whether that's sending money or taking a loan or doing whatever. They're going to do that in the UI, and the layer in which like the finality happens or the consensus takes place will be whichever chain that is integrated into that dApp that can do it cheapest, fastest, and most securely. And so that's going to be kind of the user experience in my mind, where the user doesn't necessarily know which underlying chain the consensus is happening on. They only care about the outcome, which is, in this case, playing that game, right? Or in crypto, having finality and consensus for that transaction.
No, I 100% agree with you on that one, Michael. Definitely hit it on the nose. One of the things that we're doing with to kind of showcase our innovation is we're basically making it so that the wallet SDK is an engineering layer for us. So projects and games like that can actually come in and build on top of that wallet and create that seamless experience there as well. So not only is the user never having to leave the wallet experience, but they can access without having to go through and click over to a dApp site kind of thing. So yeah, it's all about user experience, about bringing it forward to the user, allowing them to interact 100% agree. In the future, it won't matter. They'll just want to get from point A to point B, no matter which route you're going. So, okay, sounds great. Anybody else want to wrap up a few things there as well? Last minute kind of shout out shills, and we'll get this thing wrapped up.
Just to let Walt Disney and Color Void know that we're trying to get you up on stage, but maybe you should rejoin because we don't have the ability to grant you speaker permission. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
just go
aside
ahead
from,
and drop off and drop back on and send us a request and we'll look for it.
yeah, meanwhile, last famous words, please.
Yeah, I just like to thank you guys for having me on. Really appreciate it. This is a great space. I think interoperability is the future, and it's really tied to what we believe in on Player Chain as well. That ultimately the merging of blockchains is going to release the potential of blockchain. So yeah, follow us, Player Chain. We're here. We're open to collaborations and everything like that, and we have a airdrop coming soon in the next month or so. More details will be coming out on that. So just follow us, and thanks for having me.
Michael, do you want to go ahead? Or Spicy, whoever takes the mic first.
Well, are we doing outro? Sorry, I was reading some emails. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is the second one I've joined with you guys. It's always fun. Had a good time, good conversations, a lot of good takes. I would say the same thing. Follow us at Curvance. Testnet coming out really soon. We'll do an airdrop as well. So get in there, do your thing, get in Discord, be active. You'll get a role. That role will give you access to the testnet.
Guys, feel free to drop the links in comment section if you see the comment section. Honestly, please feel free to drop the links to Discord or wherever you want people to follow if you see the bloody comments. Spicy.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, is it just me or is the comment section like a plus button? Because I thought that was just me, but I guess other people are seeing that as well. So yeah, man, if you want to reach out to us, obviously you can DM us at Spicy Capital. We're always open to DMs and like connecting with new people as well. Or you can DM me on my personal Shibsy Baker, and same on Telegram as well. Telegram and Shibsy Baker too. But yeah, man, this has been a vibey space. This has been dope. This is probably one of the hardest spaces to answer questions too. This has been sick, man. It's not all the time we are able to actually think on spaces because it's always regurgitate questions. But this was dope. I really enjoyed this. But as I said before, man, I've always enjoyed layer one spaces as well. And always love hearing Mindless just go against everyone on their points, just to make them crumble in their seats. But no, man, this is a dope space. Really, really enjoyed it. If you guys are going to be in Paris next week, let me know. Paris Blockchain Week is going to be dope. And then the next one is Token. So if any of you guys are going to be there, let me know. It'll be dope to hang out with you lot and just vibe and, grab a daily coffee. But yeah, man, peace out and love. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Mindless, were you able to think on these spaces? I wonder.
Oh, that's a tough question. Sometimes the pseudonym goes really well, the alias, right? It's hard to pinpoint. Similarly, I chime the sentiment. It's been a great space. I think it's great to have somebody that's pushing back on things every now and again. It helps just move the discussion forward. Perhaps it's just part of my personality. I'm not sure. But likewise, if anybody is looking to connect at some point, just feel free to reach out. I saw a lot of really, really interesting names and characters today. I would definitely be reaching out and following you guys back. In the spirit of interoperability, it cannot happen unless there is collaboration between all of us and our respective ecosystems too. So I wish you all well, and I hope to see you soon.
Wonderful. A tiny, tiny 30 seconds from me. Really appreciate you all, guys. We have a few upcoming spaces on really, really cool topics that I personally love. My favorite is the benefits and downfalls of going open source. I love this. And then also we're gonna burn crypto bridges, and then we're gonna talk about real world assets, validator nodes, hosting and stuff. So many ahead planned already. Feel free to drop me a message anytime you wanna step in onto the panel. I'm happy to help and ping you for any of the spaces. Happy to connect, happy to chat anytime. Thank you. That's from me. Cody, over to you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining, even our listeners. Sorry we weren't able to get to the questions. So make sure that you shout out to Elon Musk so that he knows that his X Spaces totally sucks and needs to definitely improve the user experience here so that we can actually get more engaged on these. I don't know if it's just you guys, but it just seems like for me, Spaces have been getting a little bit more buggy lately. So hopefully...
Been an absolute shit show. Walt Disney, can you speak? Sorry, Cody.
No, is he back?
Yeah.
Yay! All right.
But I don't know if they can speak. No, it doesn't look like it. Bummer. Yeah, absolute shit show.
Shoot.
That
Yeah.
Spaces.
Come on, Elon. We need Spaces fixed. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. Make sure that you give everyone on the panel a follow. They definitely deserved it today. Likewise, please join us for one of our next episodes coming up here shortly. Follow the XTalks handle to get the schedule for that. So, in the meantime, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening in. And keep uniting all of crypto. And we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.